said that Bernie Sanders did better than Hillary Clinton. There was a lot of online quick polling. We know that it wasn't scientific. We said it 1,000 times. But at least the people online were saying Bernie Sanders won. But all the mainstream media shouted from the hills, no, 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 I'm not going to believe that. Hillary Clinton won. Hillary Clinton won. She did much better. Well, before the debate in September, Clinton was leading Bernie Sanders 42-35. Okay. Now we've got a new poll out. It's NBC Wall Street Journal poll. And I want to tell you about that. So was I right? Did the debate wind up helping Bernie Sanders? So it was only 42-35 national. I can't remember. Bernie Sanders winning in New Hampshire and leading in many of the polls in Iowa. This is a national poll. It's not as good an indication, but it is some indication. So did Bernie catch Hillary?
My window is interfering.
So 49%
But nevertheless,
he went from a 7-point lead to a 20-point lead after that. So when decided to go, oh, well, see, what is, ooh, I did not say. Okay. Now, look, you got to call it as it is, which, of course, the other players never ever do. But it turns out that, according to this poll at least, and if the other polls continue, that Hillary Clinton did win the debate. Those polls that we told you were on Scientific on their websites, we thought were some indication, perhaps they weren't an indication, that Bernie Sanders happens to be particularly strong on the internet, but when you do a cross-section of Americans, they think that Hillary Clinton won the debate. Now, again, they didn't question on the debate. They didn't say who won the debate. But if you have a swing in Clinton's direction, and one of the major events that happened was the debate, then you got to call it as it is, and realistically say that apparently the debate helped her, did not help Bernie Sanders. So we did get a comment about the whole Feel the Burn movement from Sanders himself. Let's go to that. I'm still alive, only I'm very badly burned. Feel the Burn taking a different twist. Okay, but I think he can get back on the right track because he's got the right attitude. So I want to show you a clip of Bernie Sanders talking about how he's going to tax the rich, and then I'll tell you how that can get him back on. Listen.
And nobody's heard the term communist. But you know what? I call him a socialist/communist, okay? Because that's what he is. You smiled when you heard that. What's your response?
Well, if I had to respond to every absurd thing that Donald Trump said, I'd spend my whole life doing it. But I do want to, you raised the issue of taxes. Trump raised that issue. Let's talk about it. What we have seen, George, in the last 30 years, as most Americans know, is a massive redistribution of wealth. Unfortunately, it's gone in the wrong direction. It's gone from the middle class and working families to Donald Trump and his friends, the top 1/10 of 1%. And yes, let me be very clear. If we're going to make public colleges and universities tuition-free, as I believe we have to do in the 21st century, we are going to have a tax on Wall Street
I'm right over my head right now with my camera, but I'm running out of the light rays showing up very much. So I'm going to come down some.
I was feeling the burn. It would be a damn lot higher than it is now. Yeah, I like that. So you have to understand something. Right now, every consultant in the world, if they're allowed in the Bernie Sanders campaign, I don't know if they are, every DC consultant will
It's weird looking there.
No, you lost the debate. Go more to the center. You have to convince people that you're not actually progressive.
Now the light from the window is interfering. I get away from that.
Listen to that for a second. Double that. Okay? Because you've got to be the real contender against Hillary Clinton.
I'm going to twist my little marble thing again. Different direction.
So, obviously that first debate, it wasn't a disaster by any stretch, but it didn't help him in the polls. You have to be realistic about it. But at the same time, the reason you're winning the polls in the two states that matter most, the ones that are the first two, New Hampshire and Iowa,
that's very colorful,
is because this is what you gave them, and you gave it to them over and over and over again. And once they got to know you in New Hampshire,
look at that.
They liked it. Right?
Went from
So don't be afraid to do it on a nationwide level. You're not going to outflank Hillary to her right. It is impossible.
like a little ring around Saturn thing.
Ridiculous and totally counter to Bernie Sanders and his entire philosophy and his policy.
Oh, the politics on in the background.
Because unlike other politicians, I think Bernie Sanders already knows that in spades. So he comes out and goes, "Hey,
This is so wonderful, wonderful
we're going to raise taxes, and it's going to be a hell of a
way
lot
of
higher than it is
looking.
today."
so easy at something with such a simple device as a digital camera and a marble and light from a LED light.
Again, it's the theme of today. Can't wait.
This is a world. There's a long strand in this one. Let me go up. I think I already did that once. I'm going up on it to see where it goes to.
What's next for the campaign? So you're fighting this fight to get in. And I mean, I don't know if we should do hashtag let less again.
Up above my head now, my camera is.
At a minimum, hashtag let less debate, right? But what beyond that?
Well, you know, the big question now is whether we can get in the second debate. And that's the big fight we're having right now. And that's all I want. And that's what I want the chance to do, to be able to present this in the Democratic
Going back
Party,
down again.
If it's presented, there's a real chance.
There's the sunlight coming from the window. No, what I meant, that's my LED light. The window is right over there. But this light making this is my LED light, which is a very intense light. Very intense, makes really good orbs.
He said was, if the Republicans won't treat me fairly, then why should they stick with the Republican Party? Well, okay, I think they've treated Donald Trump fairly. I think that guy's got enough coverage. We spent 8 weeks lining the depths of Donald Trump's brain. And as a teacher, let me tell you, it doesn't take 8 weeks to understand the depths of Donald Trump's brain. So he's gotten fair treatment. But, you know, the question is, if they don't allow an outsider in the Democratic Party to stand on that stage fairly,
Oh dear, there's Harry. Hello, Harry. I see your little buddy there. And your little thing that's above it looks like a flag you carry around. Yep, you're there. And you get your little long arm that protrudes. There it is. There's your little long tentacle-like arm. I'm glad that you came. I didn't even ask, and you came. I'm glad that you came to be seen. Even though it makes me sound like a nut. Oh, look at that little thing. Your light spectrum has some most unusual things in it. Harry. Huh. You may be famous someday if my work ever gets known. A light creature named Harry. Oh dear. I'm losing you, but that's all right. We did see you. Okay. Maybe Harry will come back and get in it again. I find him all over the place.
Because you can't even get a balance. You spend millions of dollars to qualify to get the balance. So the idea that we have a system where the minority parties actually decide who is going to be the president. Like they give us the choice. Do you support Lenin or Trotsky? So people, those of us who don't like either of us, still have to choose between Lenin and Trotsky, right? They give us that system. The idea that that's acceptable is really quite outrageous. So I, believe in the values of the Democratic Party. I don't believe in a system that blocks the opportunity for independents to participate just as openly and vigorously.
Strange world of light. It's like the surface of a planet that has little craters.
So, according to a new report out there, tipping, when you're tipping, you're essentially a racist pervert, is what I gleaned from this story. According to a professor named Michael Lynn and another professor named Zachary Brewster, they did an investigation to see how people tip and what affects those tips. And the long and short of it is, according to this graphic, which take what you will from it, tips vary with age in a negative quadratic relationship, increase with
okay, Harry didn't show up again. I'm about to quit. I'm about to end this. I could do this and still new things would pop in there that I had seen before. I'm just sort of moving around in the room where the light is spread into a certain area of the room.